In the summer of 1940, Great Britain is threatened by Nazi Germany. Adolf Hitler's armies have torn through Poland, Scandinavia, and Western Europe. Even France has fallen. Prime Minister Winston Churchill fears Britain will be next.
The first few weeks of Winston Churchill's prime ministership are probably the worst and most disastrous weeks in the history of Britain. I think when you face the enormity of the challenge that Britain faced in 1940, if you're up against a stronger army, you've got to find other ways to get around them.
The British have been working to crack enemy military codes since the outbreak of World War I in 1914. Alastair Denniston leads the British government's Code and Cipher School, located at Bletchley Park, an old manor house in the English countryside.
The radio is as important to the Blitzkrieg as the tank or the Stuka dive bomber. It is Alastair Denniston who realizes that this German reliance on technical means of communication is also a real Achilles heel. If someone can step into that communications loop, they can intercept German reconnaissance reports, German orders. They can intercept, in a sense, German intentions.
But cracking the German ciphers is seemingly impossible. They're created by a complex device, the Enigma machine.
The Enigma machine itself looks like a cross between a cash register and a typewriter, and it's an electromagnetic machine that scrambles plain text into a code.
You will press the key, and that instigates an electric pulse that would run through a set of rotors. As they turn, it produces what we call ciphertext.
The great thing about the Enigma machine is the vast number of ways that it can be set up every day. If I've got 3 rotors, each rotor can have one of 26 positions. So that's 26 times 26 times 26, which is 17,500 different ways of setting that up. That sounds like a big number, but it's not. Here is where it gets fun, because on the front of the machine, the Germans have installed an extra device which is called the plug board. If you had 10 cables, it's 150 million different ways to set up the plug board. So if you multiply all these different options together, you end up with 156 million different ways of setting it up, which is more, I think, than there have been seconds in the universe.
The Germans figured, and I think justifiably, that it was unbreakable.
Turing is only 27 years old, but he's already a world-renowned leader in the solving of mathematical problems with the help of mechanical devices.
One of the greatest contributions that Alan Turing brings to code breaking in this era is to understand that to attack the Enigma machine, the British are going to need their own machine.
Turing begins by studying the critical work of Polish codebreakers. Before the war, these men built a machine that could sift through the many variations of the early Enigma settings. In 1939, fearing the Nazis were about to invade their country, the Poles presented their device to the British and French intelligence services. Turing now assembles a radically upgraded British version of this machine, the bombe.
It's huge. Imagine a wardrobe, maybe a bit bigger, very noisy, very clunky.
The British feed intercepted German signals into the bombe. Then it rotates through the millions of possible Enigma settings, and by a process of elimination, reduces these to a smaller number that can be deciphered, revealing the original message. But now the code breakers become victims of their own success. The number of enemy signals they intercept and decode grows so rapidly that the bombe machines can no longer handle the sheer volume of material fed into them. The Allies need to process military intelligence on an industrial scale. So Great Britain turns to its ally, the United States.
we send our most precious asset, the other side of the Atlantic. We send Alan Turing to America.
In the winter of 1942, Turing meets Joe Desch, an electrical engineer at the National Cash Register Company in Dayton, Ohio. As a result, the bombe machines evolve into an electrical as well as a mechanical weapon against the Third Reich.
Desch's machine is transformative technology. He's invented the first electronic computer memory.
The new machines are 6 times faster and are mass-produced in the hundreds. By decrypting messages at such speed and scale, the Allies are able to access key German information, and in combination with a mosaic of intelligence operations, deception, espionage, and sabotage, they can corroborate that their secret war is working. In the spring of 1943, Allied forces, under the leadership of Dwight Eisenhower, have forced the German and Italian armies out of North Africa. The Allies' plan is to next invade the island of Sicily.
The only real problem with Sicily is that it's somewhat of an obvious target. If you're looking at a map, Sicily's the first big island. The Allies believe it's necessary to spread a little disinformation around. Make Hitler and the German planners think the landing is coming somewhere else, perhaps in the Balkan Peninsula to the east, anywhere but Sicily. They find the corpse of a homeless man in Britain, and they build an entire story for him, a lifetime that he never actually enjoyed in person. They give him a uniform, they give him a career, they put identity cards in his wallet, they give him pictures of an imaginary girlfriend, the lovely Pam. He becomes Major Martin, British intelligence officer.
The final step is to give Major Martin a briefcase containing fake plans for an Allied invasion of the Balkans. The British hope the documents inside the case will make their way to Adolf Hitler in Berlin. They've chosen Francisco Franco's Spain because they suspect the Spanish will pass the information to the Germans.
The British know the German intelligence agencies, especially the Abwehr under Wilhelm Canaris, have a really good relationship with the Spanish. So this is a far more clever and subtle way of getting deception information into German hands rather than just dumping it off the coast of Germany. Put it off the coast of Spain, and you've got a more plausible way of that information coming through the pipeline.
Two days later, Bletchley Park decodes a message. The Germans are moving troops toward the Balkans. Operation Mincemeat is working.
The work of Bletchley Park feeds into a deception campaign like this in a really important way. Ultra allows you to understand whether your enemy is buying the deception you're trying to sell.
We can see, thanks to our Bletchley decryptions, that Hitler is pulling panzer units to the Balkans, to Greece, directly because of one dead corpse that's left floating off the shores of Spain.
Two months later, the Allies land in Sicily and capture the island more quickly than anticipated. The depleted number of German defenders is a critical part of their success.
This is one of the most successful intelligence operations of the Second World War.